This podcast was recorded on Ramangeri land. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Welcome to episode 4 of Fleurieu Footy podcast. I'm your host, Steve Costello. Thanks for joining us. On today's program, we are going to cover the results for the men's A grade. Then we'll move on to the FP Ag women's A grade results, followed by the reserves for men. And then we'll have a special segment called 10 Years Ago where we'll concentrate on the A grade results. We will then have our special guest on. We'll do the Telstra Senior Colt results after that, followed by the Fleurieu Milk Junior Colts. And then last but not least, the FP Ag Under 17 Girls results. We will then plug a local business and we will then finish the program. So I hope you really enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and also share with family and friends and send us some comments. Cheers. Here are the results for the men's A grade for round 13. Ponga Sellicks hosted Encounter Bay in an important clash. Final score saw Ponga Sellicks 16 goals, 16, 112, defeat Encounter Bay 13 goals to 80. Best players for Ponga: Ben Kennedy, Thomas Carroll, Jaden Scott, Cooper Gilbert, Levi Proud, Jake Spinks. Goal kickers for Ponga Sellicks: J Scott 5, B Kennedy 3, N Flintham 2. Singles to L Proud, R Haverty, T Carroll, S Kennedy, C Sampson and S Gerardo. Best players for Encounter Bay: Tyson Neal, Marcus Lippert, Fraser Tonkin, Cohen Pettit, Lachlan Williams, Tyler Baldock. And the goal kickers: Tyson Neal 4, Jake Tarker 3, P McInerney 2, and singles to C Hills, C Pettit, F Tonkin and Jack Crispin. And that nearly solidifies Ponga Sellicks' spot in the top 3, I reckon. So well done to them. Wollonga took on Yankalilla, and the final score saw Wollonga 31 goals, 17, 203. Defeat Yankalilla 6 goal, 440. Best players for Wollonga: Darcy Scott, Sam Rennie, Brad Haskett, Danny Juckers, Tyson Hoffman and Harrison Mills. Goal kickers for Wollonga: D Scott 6, S Rennie 5, J Stanfield 4, B Haskett 3, T Hoffman 3, D Bass 2. Singles to B Altus, B Michael, B Cook, H Mills, D Juckers, J Webb, J Cook and J Shervington. Best players for Yankalilla: L Rippon, Aidan Duke, Harry Abbott, Jack Fitzgerald, Joseph Tillis, Kaylee Fitzgerald. And the goal kickers saw J Tillis 3, singles to M Linky, M James and Matt James. And that saw Wollonga bounce back with a really good victory. Gould Port Elliot took on the undefeated McLaren. Final score saw McLaren 23 goals, 18, 156 to Gould Port Elliot 10 goals, 161. Best players for McLaren: Daniel Marr, Alex Moyle, Joel Vanderleur, Brett Ellis, Cody Ellison and Ashley Goodison. Goal kickers for McLaren: M Merritt 4, J Mutton 4, J Charla 3, H Matthews 2, B Ellis 2, D Marr 2, J Vanderleur 2. Singles to D Zimmer, B Anderson, A Goodison, C Ellison. There's a few Suns kicking goals there for McLaren. Best players for Gould Port Elliot: Jesse Bates, Jade Cooper, Ryan Carnley, Logan Payne, Costa de Koning. Goal kickers: T Griffin 3, L Harrison 2. Singles to R Carnley, J Bates, Costa de Koning, Jade Cooper and Tom Ferguson. And that sees McLaren remain undefeated, and that's a fantastic effort. Langhorne Creek hosted Mount Compass. Final score saw Langhorne Creek 14 goals, 12.96. Defeat Mount Compass 5 goals, 8.38. Best players for Langhorne Creek: Troy Blackwell, Caleb Howe, Kobe Hellier, Darcy Clifford, Scott Tonkin and Tasman Follett. Goal kickers for Langhorne Creek: M. Cleggett 4, C. Howe 4, J. Tote 2, T. Follett 2, and singles to D. Warren and C. Hellier. Best players for Mount Compass, Corey Grove, Thomas Vitkunis, Klaus Simons, Bailey Han, and Ziggy Vitkunis. Goal kickers, Ziggy Vitkunis 2, Tom Pinion 1, M. Schultz 1, Jay Wheatman 1. That keeps Langhorne Creek's hopes alive of making the final 5. And I think Compass, they're probably looking at just shaping the 5 now. The final game of the round for the A grade saw Victor Harbor host Strathalbyn in an important game to secure a top 5 spot. In the end, Victor Harbor ran out winners 16 goals 18, 114 to Strathalbyn 7 goals 6, 48. Best players for Victor Harbor, Jesse McKinnon, Jackson Elms, Zach Dowling, Reece Bartram, Dylan Kleinig and Kurt Linder. Goal kickers saw Jackson Elms kick 5, Sam Basham kick 5, B. Yeomans 2, singles to Kate Cooper, Jay Hewitt, Jay McKinnon and Jay Bramley. Best players for Strathalbyn, Cooper Machin, Adam Clark, Ben Simmons, Xavier Redden, Richard O'Grady and Ryan Clark. Goal kickers, B. Simmons 3, J. Wright 2, singles to M. Elliott and A. Noski, and that saw Victor Harbor slip into 4th spot and Strathalbyn still 6th on percentage. The men's A grade leading goal kickers as of round 13 finds in number 1 spot Ben Simmons from Strath on 45, 2nd Matthew Merritt McLaren 44, 3rd Sam Basham Victor Harbor 42, 4th is Jake Tarker in Counter Bay 39, 5th is Jackson Elms Victor Harbor 37, 6th is James Grimley McLaren 36, 7th is Nick Marshall in Counter Bay 34, 8th is Tyson Neal in Counter Bay 30, 9th is Tom Pinion Mount Compass 29, 10th and 11th, Hassan Ahmad Watkins, Maiponga Celts 28, and Ziggy Vitkunis, Mount Compass 28. If we look at the men's A grade premiership ladder after round 13, we've got McLaren on top, undefeated, with 26 points. In 2nd spot is Maiponga Celts on 20 points. In 3rd spot is Wollonga on 18 points. And in 4th spot is Victor Harbor. They jumped into there after their victory against Strathalbyn. They're on 16 points. 5th is Encounter Bay on 14 points, ahead of Strathalbyn in 6th on 14 points, separated by percentage. And 1 win behind them in 7th is Langhorne Creek on 12 points. And there's a bit of a gap to Mount Compass now in 8th on 8 points with 4 wins. And 9th is Yankalilla with 2, and 10th is Gould Port Elliot, yet to get a victory, but their improvement is quite pronounced and they could have a win in the last 5 games. We'll now look at the GSFL Women's FP Ag A-grade results for round 13. First game saw McLaren take on Strathalbyn, and McLaren were victorious, 8 goals 250 to Strathalbyn 3 goals 18. Best players for McLaren, Sophia Flanagan-Soberg, Katie Wish, Sam Pratt, Tiffany Copley, Sally Fuller, Meg Bentley. Goal kickers, L Reynolds 2, S Peters 2, singles to JVC, T Copley, S Fuller. Best players for Strath, Tess Huxtable, Emma Chapman, Courtney Meshke, Tessa Grant, Kate Sanders and Katie Ellers. Goal kickers, singles, I Miller, Kay Ellers, R Shaw. Gould Port Elliot took on Victor Harbor, and the final score saw Gould Port Elliot 3 goal 523 defeat Victor Harbor 2 goal 315. Best players for Gould Port Elliot, Alana Brown, Taylor Hode, Hannah Crump, Rachel Wood, Rachel Searle and Laura Jones. Single goal kickers, Kay Moon, L Jones, H Crump. Best players for Victor Harbor, Sky Katniri Sumner, Jamie Tabb, Courtney Barry, Jasmine Bailey, Maya Overall. Single goal kickers, El Baxter 1, J-Tab 1. Final game of the round saw Yankalilla versus Wollonga. The final score, Wollonga 11 goals 672, defeated Yankalilla 1 point. Best players for Wollonga, Tessa Cone, Paddy Somerville, Shay Archbold, Shannon Hearn, Courtney Gutschmidt and Abby Woodward. Goal kickers, Shay Archbold 6, Seagum 5. Yankalilla best players, Gemma Ellis, Annabella Walden, Kalisha Rowita Edwards, Maddie Munro, Tegan Stewart, and Lauren Haywood. Leading goal kickers for the FPAG Women's A grade after round 13 sees in first place Courtney Gum from Wollonga on 21, second Sheena Peters, McLaren 17, third is Shay Archbold, Wollonga 14, along with Sally Fuller, McLaren 14, fifth Indy Miller, Strathalbyn 13, sixth Tamara Page, Wollonga 12, along with Lauren Reynolds from McLaren on 12. Eighth is Stella Renfrey Pacey from Wollonga on 11. Ninth, Emily Cooper Wollonga on 9. And tied for 10th is Megan Rich and Tiana Jokic from Strathalbyn, both on 8. The Women's FPAG A grade Premiership ladder after round 13 sees Wollonga on top with 21 points. Second is McLaren on 16 points, tied with Gould Port Elliot on 16 points, separated by percentage. In fourth is Strathalbyn on 10. Fifth is Yankalilla on 8. Sixth is Mount Compass on 6. And Victor bottom on 1. Here are the results for the GSFL Reserves grade round 13. First game we look at, my Ponga Sellicks took on Encounter Bay in a top of the table clash. The final score saw Encounter Bay 6 goals 12-48 defeat my Ponga Sellicks 3 goals 7-25 in a pretty tough tussle. Best players for Encounter Bay, James Bradford, Matthew Kruger, Billy Puckridge, Lachlan Costello, Dion Davidson, and John Morris. Goal kickers for Encounter Bay, Lachlan Costello with 3, singles to B. Puckridge, O. Johnson, and G. Clark. My Ponga Sellicks best players, Adrian Pulse, Mark Pulse, Ryan Mays, Kane, Andrew Warther, Sean Verity, and Sean Aston. Goal kickers, T. Grundy 2 and T. Stark 1. Wollonga hosted Yankalilla and the final score saw Wollonga 13 goals 18-96 defeat Yankalilla no score. Best players for Wollonga, Sean Gale, Jacob Steele, Matthew Milne, Scott Brown, Sam Alexopoulos and Cam Turner. Goal kickers, F. Beckers 2, J. Lander 2, J. Lawton 2, M. Milne 2, singles to S. Alexopoulos, D. Moore, O. Brunton, T. Pike and S. Brown. Best players for Yankalilla, Chris Biddle, Oakley Major, Lachlan Whittlesey, Jimmy Maidment, John Hilton and Jacob Hogden. Gould Port Elliot hosted McLaren. Final score saw McLaren 29 goals 17, 191 defeat Gould Port Elliot 2 goals 12. Best players for McLaren, Sam Bentley, Luke Goodison, Jed Bergman, Carl Dello, Matthew Hill, Brodie Smith. Goal kickers, Luke Goodison 10, E. White 4, J. Bergman 3, C. Lyons 3, M. Hill 2, M. Curtis 2, C. Dello 2, singles to S. Bentley, H. Lambert, J. Branson. Best players for Gould Port Elliot, Sean Hand-Bark, Elijah Coop, Julian Pearce, Cameron Steele, Jared Madden and Ryan Pearce, and single goal kickers W. Malloy and A. Evans. Langon Creek hosted Mount Compass. Final score, Langon Creek 20 goals 13, 133 defeated Mount Compass 5 goals 333. Best players for Langon Creek, Graydon Brand, Darcy Pate, Jasper Tonkin, Jake Moisey, Riley Crombie and Damon Land. Goal kickers for Langhorne Creek, G. Brand 6, J. Moisey 3, D. Land 3, R. Jasper Pruitt 2, I Lines 2, J. Tonkin 2, singles to T. Follett and K. Cooper 1. Best players for Mount Compass, Reese Evans, Mitchell Colligan, Blake Thompson, Jordan Venturin, Wayne McMillan and Nicholas Soulsby. Goal kickers, W. McMillan 4 and a single to J. Venturin. Victor Harbour hosted Strathalbyn and the final score saw Strathalbyn 9-5, 59. Defeat Victor Harbour 6-6, 42 in a pretty tight, close tussle. Best players for Strathalbyn, Dylan Mason, Matt Rogers, Michael Kenyon, Ruben Stutley, Brett Abbott and Max Barnes. Goal kickers for Strathalbyn, H. Simmons 3, B. Abbott 2, N. Duffield 2, singles to D. Mason and J. Hill. For Victor Harbour, best players Ty Corey, Thomas Pitt, Charlie Vincent, Syed Hanson, Ryan Jeffries and Alan Wheatra. Goal kickers A. Wheatra 2, singles to C. Vincent, T. Corey, S. Hanson and X. East. The leading goal kickers for the men's reserves grade at round 13 sees in first spot Graydon Brand from Langhorne Creek on 28, tied with Blake Bailey on 28. Third spot is Thomas Grundy on 26 from Maiponga Selix, followed by Ben Hutchinson from Maiponga Selix on 23, Jacob McDonald in fifth from Wollonga on 16, along with Braden Anderson from McLaren on 16. Seventh is Sebastian Jurado from Maiponga Selix on 15, tied with Isaac Lyons from Langhorne Creek on 15. Then in ninth, we've got Dane Moore from Wollonga, tied with Daniel Macrow from Maiponga Selix on 14. So the men's reserves grade premiership ladder after round 13 sees Wollonga on top by percentage from Encounter Bay, both on 22 points. In second, Maiponga Selix in third on 18 points. Then you've got in fourth, Langhorne Creek on 18 points. Fifth, McLaren on 17 points, but they've got a pretty healthy percentage. Then you've followed by Strathalbyn on 14 points. Still in touch with the 5. Seventh is Victor Harbour on 10, maybe just falling away a bit. Then you've got Gould Port Elliot in 8th on 7 points, Yankalilla in 9th on 2 points, and Mount Compass in 10th, yet to have a victory. Let's hope they can get one before season's end. Here are some results from the men's A grade 10 years ago, round 13. Have a look for some familiar names in the best players and the goal kickers. Encounter Bay hosted the Gould Port Elliot Magpies. Final score, Encounter Bay 15-12, 102. Defeated Gould Port Elliot 9-2, 56. Best players for Encounter Bay, H. Lindsay, T. Hooper, W. Hooper and J. Baggs. Goal kickers, T. Neal 5, T. Hooper 2, J. Baggs 2, S. Welsh 2, P. Taggart, E. Horrocks, A. Rosler and J. Wilson 1. Best players for Gould Port Elliot, B. Marnie, G. White, T. Ferguson, H. Wilson, A. Hank, S. Daniel. Goal kickers, A. Harvey 3, D. McKinlay 2, C. Micken 2, 1 each to R. McCard and M. Kilsby. Langhorne Creek hosted McLaren, and the final score saw Langhorne Creek 15-11, 101, defeat McLaren 11-11, 77. Best players for Langhorne Creek, L. McGregor, F. Hill, N. Warren, B. Saunders, M. Footner, B. McLeod. Goal kickers, L. McGregor 6, P. Sherwood 3, R. Butler, T. Haitley, J. Aston Place, F. Hill, T. Shapter, R. Matner, all 1. Best players for McLaren, N. Riley, D. Lutz, E. Williams, R. Crockford, B. Altus, D. Broughton. Goal kickers, E. Williams 3, C. Scholar 2, B. Alders 2, J. Cowling, A. Natal, C. McDonald, R. Hislop, all 1. Strathalbyn hosted Mount Compass. The final score saw Strathalbyn 18 goals 12, 120. Defeat Mount Compass 13 goals 10, 88. Best players for Strathalbyn: M. Tucker, J. Hall, B. Cousins, A. McFarlane, B. Dre, R. Stutley. Goal kickers: B. Dre 6, R. Stutley 4, S. Munn 2, J. Hall 2, B. Wilson 2. Singles to M. Tucker and A. McFarlane. Best players for Mount Compass: T. Pinion, B. Creek, T. Corbett, D. Schultz, C. Merritt, M. Byrne. Goal kickers: T. Pinion 6, J. Parsons 4, S. McGee, S. Pittaway, B. Creek, all 1. Wollonga hosted my Pongoselix. The final score: Wollonga 22 goals 18, 150. Defeated my Pongoselix 7 goals 10, 52. Best players for Wollonga: W. Glass, B. Haskett, S. McGowan, B. Cox, S. Beath, S. Brown. Goal kickers: S. McGowan 5, J. Stanfield 4, W. Glass 3, D. Laheath 3, J. Rennie 2. Singles to R. Sherry, B. Baxter, S. Beath, B. Haskett and T. Best. Best players for my Pongoselix: T. Carroll, S. Hunt, S. Ogilvie, N. Hassan, S. Hutchinson, D. Smith. Goal kickers: D. Smith 2. Singles to K. Grundy, S. Meyer, N. Hassan, D. Wenham and T. Carroll. Yankalilla hosted Victor Harbour. The final score saw Yankalilla 18 goals 12, 120. Defeat Victor Harbour 10 goals 161. Best players for Yankalilla: A. Cook, A. Bradler, J. Sidebottom, J. Brazier, T. Fiddock, P. Fiddock. Goal kickers: P. Fiddock 5, K. Load 3, A. Bradler 2, M. James 2, M. Jones, M. King, M. Warmington, J. Brazier, L. Brannigan Fisher, L. Durden, all 1. Best players for Victor: C. Simmons, L. Ryan, A. Moles, J. Bell, D. Robinson and D. Ilgitson. Goal kickers: D. Ilgitson 5, L. Ryan 3. Singles to C. Wheatra and B. Basham. The A-grade premiership ladder after round 13 10 years ago saw Wollonga on top with 24 points, followed by Yankalilla in second on 22. Third was Encounter Bay on 18. Fourth was Langong Creek on 16. And fifth was McLaren on 14. Then you had sixth Mount Compass on 8. Seventh Gould Port Elliot on 8. Eighth Victor Harbour on 8. Ninth Strathalbyn on 8. And 10th my Pongoselix on 4. So there was about 4 clubs vying for fifth spot that were all on 8 points, but I think the 5 was pretty well set by then. I'd like to welcome to Fleurieu Footy Podcast a McLaren men's A-grade coach currently, and also the association coach for the men's GSFL A-grade this year, and I believe assistant coach for the Southern District's combined side going to the SA Country Championships. It's a bit of a mouthful, mate. Gianni Petrucci, welcome along, mate.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Look, we'll start off with some questions. There's about 7 of them. And the first one is about the A-grade side at the moment, playing such consistent footy, not only in the season so far, but quarter by quarter. In years gone by, it used to probably be the reserve side that was the consistent side for McLaren. What's changed that around and made the A-grade the consistent side?
Look, I think it's not something that, it's happened straight away. We've been working on it for a few years. When I came to the club, we sort of talked about wanting to have A-grade success. And yes, it's all well and good the B-grade have some success, but that's not what a club's there for. So, we've put a really strong focus on the A-grade and developing young guys to feel the strength of the A-grade. And then our reserve side has become a bit more of a development side, getting games into young fellas and playing them in positions that we see them playing in the future in the A-grade. So, that coupled with probably, some really strong leaders that I've got on the field. And, this is probably 5 years in the making. We've been working really hard at our game and our structures and, how we want to play. So, and so far this year with a long way to go, it's come together nicely.
Okay, so for example, somebody for me in regards to a player, because I watch a fair bit of the footy, is Joel Charler. Now, Joel Charler was probably playing a lot of B-grade footy the last few years, and now he's stepped up and playing A-grade and kicking goals for you.
Yeah, Joel's a fantastic guy. He and I probably spoke maybe 2.5, 3 years ago now, and I sort of said to him, "Look, mate, I didn't want him to be one of those guys that ended up being a really good reserves footballer, but perhaps didn't get the very best out of himself." And I sort of gave him some things that I needed him to work on, and I asked whether he wanted to be an A-grade footballer. And to his credit, he said absolutely. So he's gone away and worked on areas of his game that he needed to, and he just adds a different dimension for us. He's tough, he's reliable, and like you said, he's hitting the scoreboard, which is great.
Yeah. Now, to me, I've watched you go about your business, not only at McLaren, but also at the association, and I saw you running water for the association. Do you think now, as an A-grade coach, that the role has changed a little, that you're not just the A-grade coach, you're probably across the board the club coach, like a manager in soccer?
Yeah, I think, it depends on what the club are looking for. Like, we made it very clear, the club to me and me to the club, when I came back in 2018, that they wanted me to be a club coach and to build everything around the club and be heavily involved in all grades. It's probably something that I like doing as well. I've never sort of been a coach that just wants to work with the 25 A graders. I love developing those, the lower end guys or the young fellas and seeing improvement in them. So, and in regards to just the running water, I guess it's all about role modelling. Like, I wanted the 17s on association day to come run water for the seniors. So if they see me running water for them, then then I potentially can, they can come and put their hand up to run water for the seniors. So, and I think if I could pass on a little bit of guidance without getting in trouble by the umpires with some on-field coaching, then why not?
No, look, I think it's a great thing. And from my point of view, I think that's probably the role of the A-grade coach in the future, is to be more like the manager in, say, the soccer, in the Scottish League or the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, I've always been big on surrounding myself with good people too. I've never been someone that just wants to do it all myself. So I've always had, 2 or 3 assistant coaches and given them, their power to do their things.
Yeah.
And like you said, just overseeing the whole lot and working together as a team. Like, if we've got 4 sets of eyes watching the game as opposed to mine, then four people could pick up different things that I could miss. So, I'm pretty big on having a team.
So congratulations on the association coaching role for the men's A-grade and the GSFL, and also on the victory. Tell us a bit about that and how you felt about it.
Yeah, I was stoked to be given the opportunity. When Grant and Terry sort of sat me down and offered me the position, I jumped at it straight away. I've always been a big supporter of representative footy. I had the opportunity to coach the Southern Footy League when I was coaching at Ranella, and I loved it. But my heart is with the Great Southern, so I wanted that opportunity as well. And Grant, Grant Levy was fantastic to work with. Him and I come up with a few different ideas on how we wanted to do things differently and engage the playing group a bit more. And we appointed 6 player ambassadors. We thought, let's let them sell the product rather than Grant and I. And they were brilliant. And the whole week was fantastic. Training was great. The numbers on the track were great. And then the camaraderie that we were able to build on Saturday and the way the boys played, it made it very easy to coach when you've got that sort of side put in front of you.
Yeah, no, look, I went and had a look, and I thought you connected really well, especially out the back half.
Yeah, absolutely. And the back 6 were incredibly young as well, and that was probably the most the most pleasing thing. Lockie Williams and Ash Goodison, both Scott brothers, Spinksy, Darcy Clifford. The oldest out of them was 23. So it was a really young backline, and that was one thing we identified. If we can get those 6 or 7 blokes playing association footy for the next 5 years, then we're in a pretty strong position.
Yeah, it goes well for the future, mate, for sure. Now, obviously you spend a lot of time around the footy club and around footy in general.
Yep.
What do you do outside of footy? Is there anything you indulge in or that you enjoy?
Oh, aside from food, no.
You're not alone.
No, look, I'm pretty lucky. I'm heavily involved in all my kids' sports. All my kids are playing sport, and I got the opportunity to go watch them and sometimes coach them. And then probably my vice is something that I love doing is I love having a punt, Steve. I love the horses. So
Okay.
my dad and I have got a little share in a racehorse, and we love having a punt every Saturday as well. So that's probably one of my little hobbies.
So very similar to me, mate. I've got a few shares in a couple out the back here at my Ponga Yankalilla way with Jake Stevens, who had a really good day on Saturday.
He did, mate. So it sounds like now that I've got your number, you can send me a few tips.
I'll send you the Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, wouldn't say no to that.
Mate, thanks for that. Your favourite or least favourite footy moment?
Look, as I mentioned earlier, I've been very fortunate to be coaching some really good football sides. In terms of favourite moment, it's hard to go past the couple of premierships that I won at Ranella. In particular, the 2013 one where we'd done a fair bit of work to build our side up, and I think 18 of the 21 were local Ranella boys. So it had a really special feel about it. And also, again, very, very fortunate to be involved in a couple of flags in 2017 at the Sturt Footy Club, walking around the Oval, with all three of my kids doing a victory lap on Adelaide Oval. They, to this day, don't realise how special that was, but it's something that I held pretty dear. Least favourite, I think that's a pretty obvious one for me, 2014 grand final against Noarlunga. I think we're about 6.5 goals up at half-time, and we lost with a kick after the siren. So it was pretty heartbreaking, yeah.
But sometimes you need those losses to move forward.
Yeah.
I know it's fairly cruel and it sounds fairly cruel, but sometimes that's just the way it is. To get the experience, you've got to experience the loss.
Absolutely, and that loss drove our squad to be even better than what we were, and then we were fortunate enough to win the following year in 2015. So
that backs that up.
Yeah, it does, 100%. It gave that driving factor. Yeah.
Okay, so footy follower, who do you support in the AFL? Do you follow the AFL or you just SANFL, GSFL?
No, mate. I'm a footy nut. I'm a sport nut. Probably won't come to a surprise to many of your listeners, but I support Carlton Footy Club. I have for a long time. Well, ever since I was a little fella, my old man supported him. He grew up in Victoria, and obviously I just grew up supporting him as well. So.
And you didn't jump ship like a lot of other people?
Nah, keep stirring my uncle up because he jumped ship to the Crows when they came in. But no, we didn't jump. Dad and I didn't jump for sure.
Well, I hate to tell you, mate, but the punters might think this is a setup because I'm an avid Carlton fan as well. Same story.
Oh, there we go, mate. We're like kindred spirits into horse racing and go to Carlton. So.
Okay, so who's your favourite AFL all-time player?
Oh, look, there's a few. Probably when I was a young fella, I loved watching Stephen Kernahan. Obviously an SA boy. He became a captain at a very young age. I just loved the way he led and the way he spoke, and he was someone probably I loved. And then just after that, it was hard to go past someone like an Anthony Koutafidis, and even a Greg Williams for that matter. Someone that probably wasn't built like a footballer, but his footy vision and brain and the way he played the game was pretty special. So they'd be the three that I sort of grew up loving.
Yeah, certainly up there for me as well, mate. So they're the questions that we got. They weren't too hard-hitting, so I'm going to probably try you with some AFL quiz questions. There's only 5 of them, and the leader at the moment is an umpire. Dennis Rice got 4 out of 5, so he's put up a pretty good score. I think Mitch Portlock was 3 out of 5, and then the 2 other guys were 2 out of 5. So big chance here to hit the leaderboard, mate.
Well, I'm pretty competitive. I want to beat Mitchie.
Well, if you barrack for Carlton over the last 10 years, you've got to be some sort of competitive nut.
That's right. And Ricey and I get along quite well, so I'd love to be able to see him at a game when he's umpiring and tell him that I've picked him. So let's give it a go.
Let's go, mate. Which AFL team called Moorabbin Oval its home ground for many years?
Pretty confident that one is St Kilda.
All right, now I'll give you the answers at the end, so we'll just roll through them. And there's a few Carlton questions here I didn't know, Gianni. Before moving to Waverley and now the MCG, what was Hawthorn's home ground?
This is a tough one. Is it Glenferrie Oval?
Okay, we'll talk about it at the end. Now, all of these Carlton Blues legends played more than 250 games in the famous navy blue colours. But which one retired with 375 games to hold the record? Multiple choice is Craig Bradley, Bruce Dool, Stephen Silvani or Jeff Southby.
Oh, I'm tossing up. I'll be tossing up between. I'm going to go with. I can't remember Brucey Dool's game. I'm going to go with Craig Bradley.
Okay. Question 4. Which one of the following players played at 3 different teams between 2002 and 2005? And I'll give you multiple choice. Trent Crode, Blake Caracella, Callum Chambers or Ben Harrison?
I reckon Trent Crode only played at 2. Caracella played at Collingwood and Essendon. And sorry, who are the other 2 names?
Callum Chambers and Ben Harrison.
I reckon you might have me here. I'm going to go with Caracella. I think it was only 2, but I don't know the other 2 blokes that well, so I'll go with Caracella.
So last one, which AFL club in 2005 had 3 brothers on their senior team? Melbourne, Collingwood, Brisbane or Carlton?
3 brothers, 2005.
I'm going to give you a hint here because it's a tough question. Their father played AFL for 2 clubs as well.
Oh. So was it Melbourne, Carlton?
Melbourne, Collingwood, Brisbane and Carlton.
I'm going to go for Collingwood because he had the Cloak brothers.
Okay, no worries. So let's go through them. I reckon you've tied with Ricey.
Ooh,
I reckon you've got 4. You had St Kilda as Moorabbin home ground.
Yep.
Now, the Hawthorns home ground was Princess Park.
Oh,
They shared Princess Park with Carlton. And I'm not sure, somebody might be able to correct me, but I reckon Fitzroy might have been there as well after they didn't play at the Junction for a while.
Okay.
So Craig Bradley is right.
Yep.
Blake Caracella is right because I reckon he also played for Brisbane.
Brisbane, you're right. Yep. So I guessed that one right.
And Collingwood is right. You had all the Cloak brothers, and I'm hoping that clue probably tidied that up for you, mate.
Yeah, I think it did. I was tossing up between Collingwood and Carlton, but when you mentioned that the father, you got me with the Cloak brothers. Yeah,
that's all right. But some of the Carlton questions were pretty tough anyway. So, look, 4 out of 5, great score, tied with Dennis Rice at the top of the leaderboard. We might have a quiz off at the end of the season, mate. So I hope that you can join us. Congratulations on your year so far. I hope I don't put the mockers on you, and all the best for this weekend and the rest of the season, mate, and let's catch up again in the future.
Sounds great, Stephen. Love to catch up for a beer.
Good on you, mate, and I'll send the Excel spreadsheet, buddy.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Here are the results for the Telstra Senior Colts after round 13. My Ponga Selix took on Encounter Bay. Final score, my Ponga Selix 9 goals 761 to Encounter Bay 6 goals 238. Best players for my Ponga Selix, Jaden Schlotty, Jaden Hines, Jet Thompson, Joshua Gerardo, Dexter Kenny and Jai Dooley. Goal kickers for my Ponga Selix, D Kenny 3, Jay Hines 2, singles to Jay Gerardo, Jay Scolthy, H. Sheehan and K. Dooley. Best players for Encounter Bay, Hugo Smith, Connor Hills, James Baxter, Abby Ashworth, Bradley Voigt and Ari Minenko. Goal kickers Jay Baxter 2, singles each to L. Colbeck, H. Lang, J. McGaw and B. Voigt. Wollonga hosted Yankalilla. Final score, Wollonga 12 goals, 1284 to Yankalilla 8 goals, 250. Best players for Wollonga, Riley Bennett, Jacob Drury, Tyson Woodcock, Jackson Hams, Evan Carnivale and Blake Moore. Goal kickers for Wollonga, T. Woodcock 3, J. Jury 2, H. Arthur 2, Z. Edwards 2, singles to J. Nye, C. Lang and J. Hams. Best players for Yankalilla, Aidan Duke, Cohen Major, Jacob Parsons, Jordan Whittle and Dash Hawley. Goal kickers for Yankalilla, D. Hawley 4, A. Duke 2, singles to T. Christian and J. Whittle. Gould Port Elliot took on McLaren. Final score, Gould Port Elliot 8 goals 10.58. Defeated McLaren 5 goals 5.35. Best players Gould Port Elliot, Caleb Polson, Kai Awaya, Caden Wilton, Sean Han Bark, Elijah Coop, Mitchell Ramsey. Goal kickers for Gould Port Elliot, F. Hayden 2, K. Wilton 2, singles to R. McGowan, K. Awaya, M. English and S. Han Bark. Best players for McLaren, William McAvaney, James Cale, Eamon Goodall-Dorr, Tom Grimley, Mark Donaldson and Isaac Stokes. The goal kickers for McLaren, each were single goal kickers, A. Hall, J. Farrant, L. Stewart, D. Brown and A. Grimley. Langhorne Creek hosted Mount Compass. Final score saw Langhorne Creek 13 goals 8.86, defeat Mount Compass 7 goals 5.47. Best players were Turpa Harrison, Harley Samwell, Sam Erbsland, Elliot Toke, Jovi Kotz, Ben Buckle. Goal kickers A. Toke 5, E. Toke 4, C. Tonkin, T. Crosby, B. Buckle, H. Samwell 1 each. And Mount Compass best players Lockie Nash, Harrison Oster, Riley Endersby, Darcy Boots, Ethan Anderson and Deegan McCreate. Goal kickers H. Oster 2 and Lockie Nash 5. And in the last game, Victor Harbour took on Strathalbyn Roosters. Unfortunately, Victor Harbour had a forfeit, so Strathalbyn got the 10-goal victory. No best players, no goal kickers. Let's look at the Telstra Senior Colts leading goal kickers after round 13. And on top, by a fair way, we've got Dexter Kenny from my Ponga Selix on 45, followed by Ryan Corby from Encounter Bay on 36. Third is Josh Gerardo from my Ponga Selix on 31. Then we've got Dash Hawley from Yankalilla on 29. Fifth, Zaid Edwards from Wollonga on 22. Then you've got Jack Gilbert from Strathalbyn and Tyler Davidson from McLaren and Adam Tope from Langhorne Creek, all on 21. Then we've got Lockie Nash from Mount Compass, Archie Evans from Gould Port Elliot and Finn Hayden from Gould Port Elliot, all on 20. Here is the Telstra Senior Colts Premiership ladder after round 13, and in first spot is Encounter Bay on 22 points, tied with my Ponga Selix in second on 22 points, separated by percentage. Third is Wollonga on 20 points. Fourth is Strathalbyn on 18 points, and fifth is Gould Port Elliot on 18 points, separated by percentage. Then in sixth, we've got McLaren on 10 points, seventh Yankalilla on 8, also Langhorne Creek in 8th position on 8 points. In 9th position is Mount Compass on 4, and in 10th position, Victor Harbour, who haven't had a win. Let's hope they get one before the end of the season. It's looking like that final 5 is just about set. Here are the results for the GSFL Fleurieu Milk Junior Colts after round 13. My Ponga Selix hosted Encounter Bay, and the final score saw my Ponga Selix 16 goal 15 111, defeat Encounter Bay quite convincingly 1 goal 2-8. Best players for my Ponga Selix: Harper Matthewson, Jake Holford, Jack Brown, Lennon Roberts and Jack Noble. Goal kickers, Jack Noble 6, Jake Holford 4, C. Hines 2, H. Mathewson 2, singles to N. Siwak and L. Roberts. Best players for Encounter Bay, Otis Althorpe, Zane Garrett, Riley Bastelek, Mason Kruger, Braxton Watson and Hudson Brown, and the goal kicker was Kay Jamison. Wollonga took on Yankalilla. Final score, Wollonga 17 goals, 16, 118. Defeated Yankalilla 1 goal, 6 points. So a pretty lopsided game there. Best players for Wollonga, Noah Mulcurin, Kay Genovese, Noah Miller, Riley Mitchell, Riley Kennard and Hayden Jonas. Goal kickers, Kay Genovese 4, R Mitchell 3, M Joy 2, singles each to S Fawcett, R Reid, H Jonas, O Rice, N Miller, O South, D Jeffrey and M Kozlowski. Best players for Yankalilla, Jackson Collins, Logan Sparnan, Riley Golder, Lachlan Bilney, Blake Simmons and Vincent Liddy, and the sole goal kicker was Jay Fernside. Gould Port Elliot hosted McLaren, and McLaren come away with the victory there, 4 goals, 4-28, and a pretty close one. Gould Port Elliot, 3 goals, 5-23. Best players for McLaren, Tyler Harris, Henry Pritchard, Brock Grund, Max Gregor, Ryan Douglas, and Jaya Walden. Goal kickers, Brock Grund 3 and H Bowl 1. Best players for Gould Port Elliot, Jai Bailey, Archer Price, Lenny Hayden, Hamish Donlan, Wyatt Trezise and Harry Knott. Goal kickers, 1 each to A Price, B Coombe and M Blackett. Langon Creek hosted Mount Compass. Final score saw Langon Creek 12 goals, 7-79. Defeat Mount Compass 5 points. Best players for Langon Creek, Kobe Abbott, Bowden Jelfs, Matthew Pennant, Luke Slocum, Anthony Campbell Katnieri and Griffin James. Goal kickers, B Jelfs 5, A Campbell Katnieri 3, singles to HB Burgess, R Pitts, M Pennant and C Tonkin. Best players for Mount Compass, Ashton Pudney, Sam Oster, Jack Chetwynd, Sterling Down, Hunter Bailey Hill and Billy Max Parker, and there were no goal kickers for Mount Compass. Victor Harbour hosted Strathalbyn, and the final score there saw Strathalbyn 4 goals, 13, a little bit inaccurate, 37, to Victor Harbour 3 goals, 1-19. Best players for Strathalbyn, Marshall Field, Sam Walsh, Jeffrey Ayres, Camillo Brazzolotto, Jock Ness and Logan Thornley. Goal kickers, 1 each, J Ness, N Weiss, C Brazzolotto and J Holding. Best players for Victor Harbour, Oscar Mulhern, Jug Cleggett, Bailey DeLuca, Liam Kent, J Gutierre Perkins and Xavier Matthews. And the goal kickers for Victor Harbour, Levi D. Stringer with 2 and E. White with 1. Here are the leading goal kickers to the GSFL Fleurieu Milk Junior Colts after round 13. And in number 1 spot is Cody Hines from my Ponga Selects on 51. Second, Archer Price, Gould Port Elliot on 39. Third is Levi D. Stringer from Victor Harbour on 34. Fourth is Brock Grund from McLaren on 32. Fifth is Jake Holford from my Ponga Selects on 29. Followed by Jack Noble in 6th from my Ponga Selects on 28. We've got a couple on 19, Nathan Siwak from my Ponga Selects and Fletcher Muir from Encounter Bay on 19. Then we've got 2 on 18, Eli White from Victor Harbour and Riley Wiedenhofer from Encounter Bay. Here is the premiership ladder for the Fleurieu Milk Junior Colts after round 13, and in first spot is my Ponga Selects on 24 points, followed by Wollonga in second on 23 points. Then a bit of a gap to Strathalbyn on 18 points. Fourth is Encounter Bay on 18 points. Fifth is Victor Harbour on 15 points with a pretty healthy percentage. Sixth is Gould Port Elliot on 14 points. Seventh is McLaren on 10 points. Eighth is Langon Creek on 6 points. Ninth is Mount Compass on 2 points. and 10th is Yankalilla, yet to have a victory, so let's hope that they do. It's all pretty tight there at the top. I would suggest that maybe Encounter Bay could be in a little bit of trouble, but there are a couple of games clear, so we'll see how that pans out. Here are the results for the GSFL FPAG Under-17 girls after round 13. McLaren took on Strathalbyn, and the final score saw McLaren 3-20 defeat Strathalbyn 2-3-15, so a pretty close game. Best players for McLaren, Keisha Dello, Molly Jenkins, Alyssa Han, Esther Rayner, Kira Harvey and Charlie Pullman. Goal kickers, one each to M. Hamilton, C. Pullman and E. Rayner. For Strathalbyn, the best players, Charlotte Collins, Marley Tate, Sienna Land, Lily Mitchell, Zinta Boag and Elisa Bruce. Single goal kickers, C. Collins 1 and A. Mallard 1. Gould Port Elliot Magpies were meant to play Victor Harbour, but it looks like there was a forfeit there with lack of numbers, so there's no scores and no goal kickers or best players. Yankalilla took on Wollonga, and the final score there saw Wollonga 14-8, 92, convincing winners over Yankalilla, 1 goal. Best players for Wollonga, Eden Coleman, Emma Charlton, Bella Rigby, Jessica Harris, Abby Woodward and Francesca Stone. Goal kickers, S. Archbold 5, E. Charlton 3, E. Coleman 2. Singles to E. Steele, H. Eifeld, F. Stone and A. Woodward. There was no best players selected for Yankalilla and 1 goal kicker, M. Marks. If we look at the GSFL FPAG girls under 17 leading goal kickers after round 13, we've got Emma Charlton in first from Wollonga on 31. In second, Emily Steele from Wollonga on 21. Third is Mexi Marks from Yankalilla on 15, with Shay Archibald from Wollonga on 15. Fifth is Abby Woodward, Wollonga 14. Sixth is Georgia Ellis, McLaren 13. There's a couple of girls on 9, Amelia Bilney from Yankalilla and Raphael Lombardozzi from Wollonga. Then there's 3 girls on 8, Tara Jane Ludlow from Yankalilla, Lily Harrison from Victor Harbour and Raya Toddy Linshu from Victor Harbour. We look at the FPAG Under-17 girls Premiership ladder after round 13. We've got Wollonga way out on top with 25 points and a massive percentage, followed by Strathalbyn on 15. Third is McLaren on 13. Fourth is Yankalilla on 12. Then we've got Victor Harbour on 9, Gould Port Elliot in 6 on 4, and in 7th is Mount Compass, who have yet to play a game. It's time for this week's Plug a Local Business. D&S Mechanical, local service, oil, lube and filter service, automotive body shop. Open between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Contact Darren and his team, send them a message via Facebook, give them a call 0417 874 018 or contact them via email d&smechanical@hotmail.com, situated at 13 Dow Dodd Crescent, Goa, SA 5214.
Don't stop. Watch out now.